Hi everyone, and welcome to the second episode of season 2 of the A Bit of AI show. And in this episode, we will talk with Ekaterina about her life in AI. Hi everyone, and welcome to the second episode of season 2 of the A Bit of AI show. This episode, we will talk with Ekaterina about her life in AI. My name is Henk Boelman. I'm a white male with brown hair, wearing glasses, and today I'm wearing a red shirt with a fun Microsoft character on it, which I forgot the name of.
And hi everyone, my name's Amy Boyd, and I'm a female with blonde hair, and I'm wearing a white shirt today.
And once again, everyone, welcome to the A Bit of AI show. This show is all about the story from the people behind the AI machines. In our job, Amy and I talk to many people around the globe, and we realize that there are so many different skilled people involved in creating this big AI solution. From pre-sales to consultancy to the people that created deep learning networks itself and running them in production. So in this show, we invite people from all over the world that are professionals in the AI space to have a chat about what they actually do during the week. And we couldn't be more excited to start with this second episode. Let's invite Ekaterina to the show and talk about her life in AI.
Hi Katerina, how are you doing?
Hello, hi. So nice to have you here. Thank you so much for the
Oh,
invitation.
no. Of course. Thank you for joining us. We've been very, very excited to have you on for our second episode of season 2. Katerina, do you want to tell us who you are and what you do in AI?
Of course. I heard your introduction, so I guess I'll start the same way. I'm a female with blondish hair and a blue shirt. I'm so happy to be here in my role as a data and innovation strategist. So my job is actually working in the area of digital data transformation, of defining innovations and innovation process also around data, and not only. So watching the market, watching the industry, watching the company. I'm working in the financial sector. But my biggest interest is laying very deep in the area of AI, and currently I'm an MVP for AI in the region in Bulgaria here. And it's already my second year actually, so getting better and better and deeper and deeper in different events. But this is actually the second thing in the area that I'm working on.
Wonderful. No, thank you for introducing yourself. So this show and the things we're going to dig into a little bit is all going to be around that innovation strategist part, because I think that's what really sets you aside. You're an expert in AI, but you work on a slightly different part of it than I think people would say is the stereotype sort of thing. So we'll probably dig a little bit into that. First off, for those who don't know, can you just describe what an MVP is for us?
Of course. MVP, this is Microsoft Most Valuable Professional. So this is an expert that's working outside of Microsoft and is interacting deeply with Microsoft products and Microsoft groups in the area of expertise that they've been selected to. So it's an award, it's a title that's recognizing your services and community work. And as an MVP, together with my colleagues, other MVPs, we are working very heavily on different events, articles, blogs, and so on. So all kinds of different community events where we can contribute, share knowledge, interact, and share actually Microsoft technologies and experience with them, and experience with the advancement that actually Microsoft is doing as one of the biggest technologies vendors, especially in the area of AI.
Wonderful. And if anyone is wanting to read more, go to mvp.microsoft.com and you can go and see all the amazing people all over the world, just like Ekaterina, and see a little bit more what it's about. Because if you're already doing stuff like that, go ahead and apply. Wonderful. So Ekaterina, back to you. So you're a data and innovation technical strategist. I mean, first things first, COVID has kind of, digital transformation has kind of been scaled very, very quickly, hasn't it? How have you found that? Have you been busy during the last 18 months?
This is a very interesting insight. Indeed, the pandemic situation and having us all working at home was a kick to digital transformation, because everybody turned their heads to the digital solutions that can transfer what we're doing in our everyday life on-prem, so at the work, in the house, at the supermarket, just transfer it digitally. And it's extremely interesting. Yeah, this got us very busy, but it gave us also, our team of digital transformation, great field of opportunities for like the whole sector to work at. So it was not only the customer, but it was also the internal processes. It was the future opportunities now bringing closer and really drawing them on a roadmap that's on a much short-term scale than the long-term one.
I see. Yeah, no, love that, and good to hear you're super busy. I know a lot of people in tech super busy, and we do kind of like it that way. I think some of us. But what we always ask, you mentioned sort of everyday life change, but we always ask our guests to kind of share with us, what does an average day look like in your role? What do you get up to on a day-to-day basis?
That's an interesting question, and it's extremely important when one is defining what they actually want to do. And you know, at job interviews, they often people ask, so what is the day-to-day job, so that I can know whether I can join or not. I can bravely say that I cannot answer straight to this question, because my day is not the same. So working in the area of AI is very challenging, and it's extremely interesting. And having the opportunity to work as strategists and to work between business and IT, this opens up a floor for a lot of different projects, different directions, and working on different levels. So one day I can be working with technical people, like working on some modeling and working with data scientists. On the other day, I can be defining the strategy, the innovation strategy, the digital data transformation with like different business units. And then the third day, I can be working with both sides and really defining and drawing an approach towards innovation, towards data, incorporating some techniques, incorporating, for example, some cognitive services in really redefining the process. And when you get all this in the topic of digital transformation, it gets even more flexible with what the projects are and what is actually required. So every day is different, and I find the beauty of this actually right there.
Yeah. Do you think that, like, do you enjoy that part of the job that is so mixed in some senses? Like, one day you're much closer to the technical side of things, and I'm assuming keeping that learning going all the time, and then on the other side you're very people centric, right? A lot of digital transformation is about culture. Can you tell us a bit more about that area?
True, it is. Digital transformation is actually about like, you have the transformation word there, which means that from one state you have to move to another state, or you need to move to another state to stay competitive, to gain more profit, or etc. Like, it would be different benefits. But this kick is not only a kick from the old way of doing stuff, but it's also a kick from your comfort zone, right? I've been thinking, like, this comfort zone, it's very hard to leave if you're not used to that, right? If you're not challenging yourself to leave it. And if you have this ability of leaving your comfort zone like multiple times, then there might be this sweet area where you actually feel so comfortable, and don't want to transform that, you don't want to skip that, you don't want to change that. And it was when I was working at Microsoft, this was one of my very, very interesting experiences back in the days. When I was advised, this was like my first professional HR advice, that if I'm in my comfort zone, like very, very sweet, sitting there and enjoying the view, and if I believe that I'm the smartest person in a room, then this is not the right room to stay in, right? And you have to keep challenging yourself, and you have to keep changing the rooms, the discussions. And I think that these layers, like the technical view, the business view, the different project, this is exactly where I find the opportunity to keep challenging myself, to keep finding different comfort zones and kicking myself out of them.
After our initial, we do a little prep call. This doesn't just happen sort of off the cuff, this this episode. And when we were chatting, you used that analogy. You said if you're in a room where you're the smartest, you're in the wrong room. And I've used that over and over in the last sort of week or so since we chatted. It comes up way more than you think it does, and so I've been sharing your wise words there.
It's super interesting, like when you think of that, because you always want to be the best in the room, right? You want to know what's going on, you want to add some insights, and to add insights and like give the best opportunity to the table, or give the best idea to the table, then you have to know everything like at 100%. And then to get out of this room and switch to another one where you have to do this all over again, this is where it gets tricky.
Exactly. So I'm really impressed by what you're all doing now, but I'm wondering, how did you get to this point in your career? What was your learning journey from school up to where you are now?
That's a story that I love. I love telling, and it's in progress. So I believe I've been talking to different people, like what should be the career path to AI. So how do you get to AI from school? And I don't think there is a single answer for that. My path started like I joined the American system, so for my bachelor degree. And it's very interesting for those who don't know, it's liberal arts system. So you have the opportunity to change between topics until you find what is the area that's actually very interesting for you. So I started by learning about politics and economics in the very beginning, until I realized that from economics, I'm more interested on business administration, and then from politics to information systems, that was quite a jump, actually. But it's back in the days when this happened, technology was starting advancing in a very interesting way. I saw that actually every business opportunity that is a great business opportunity, it has some very interesting technology behind it. So I started digging deeper into the two worlds. So on one side, I was programming. On the other side, I was learning like strategic frameworks, very interesting company example, use cases, and so on. And it was that moment when I received my first internship in predicting consumer behavior in a supermarket. That I saw that, okay, business and IT, they can combine, and they combine in a really interesting mathematical and logical like question. And I found it very interesting and challenging answering to that question. So I decided to study something in between business and information, and I continued my studies in business information management, where I started working on more and more projects that are related and connected to predictive analytics, machine learning, and really finding more and more, building hypotheses and finding answers to that. Until I got to actually my first job, I started in Microsoft, and I started working in the area of data and AI, and I found it extremely interesting because when you get into a company like Microsoft, you directly have your hands in the source of technology, like in the spring of technology. And it was extremely interesting for me that I got this perspective on what is the technology, where are the trends, what's happening. When I decided that I want to get deeper and see, okay, you have these technologies, but how do you get from these technologies to the customers, or how do you implement this, and what happens afterwards? And I decided to join a partner of Microsoft and really work into that area. So see what happens when the technology is already communicated, when the technology is released and this hype, everything around it is out there. And finally, after this partner, I decided to take my third step and close the triangle and really go to the company that is the receiver of the technology and ask the question, so when do I need the technology? Why do I need this technology? Is there a road, a strategy, and how does it fit to this technology? So I started working now in Raiffeisen Bank, in a bank where I started asking these questions in the data and AI area, where actually I was looking for them a few years ago in Microsoft.
Oh no, right.
So
that's
this
that's
is
funny, isn't it? That circle.
it is extremely interesting. But you know, when it comes to company-wide experience, you have these three perspectives that I've analyzed for now that are joining and that are giving a great perspective of the technology and its application. But alongside, I've been teaching in lecturing in a university and working with people that are actually in the research part of AI, research of data, machine learning, and it's extremely. This is when it gets very interesting, because when you add this perspective into this triangle, and then I started working with the community and Microsoft, and this perspective of the community work and AI, you see that it's not only about your company and the technology and everything. So it's about the world where we live in, and it's the community, it's the research, it's the interest. And every day when you walk out the street and you have the sensors for the weather, for the traffic, this can actually get to you through either one of these perspectives, so either through the community or through the research. You can engage, right? If you have the interest, you can engage. You have all these spots to do so.
So that is a really different story than I've heard in all these shows before, of how you actually got to this point. So let's move on to the next question. The next thing I always want to know, and that is, what is the most annoying thing in your AI role now?
Well, talking about AI and getting into the depth of AI always require one question at the very beginning that very few people actually ask and answer. And it's very simple, and this is, what is AI? So something that's buzzing me is that so many people have questions about AI. You know, like, what is exactly the application of AI in the financial sector? And I really love asking them back, okay, what is AI? Like, do you know, and do you have the depth of, because AI, it is a world, and it is an experience, and you can't be just looking for one application or like multiple application of one thing. It's not one thing. It's a holistic. It's something holistic that I don't know who can define. It's we are still in the definition process of its scope, its scalability. And this is something that's been buzzing me, like the understanding, because when you start with the meaning and then who is doing AI, so these are the simple questions like who, what, and how. So you have these three questions, and when you relate them to AI, we can't be like as a community, we can't be answering for the simple questions, but we are asking very deep questions, and this is something that's at least I'm trying in my work to bridge.
I like that. No, yeah, there's definitely an element, isn't there, of sharing sharing what, for those who do know what it is, making sure we're sharing with people what we believe it is, and also what it is right now, because obviously the definition of AI has changed throughout its history, hasn't it? We always seem to expect more and more of it, I think, as we progress. But Katerina, thank you so much for breaking down a little bit, like, what's your role? How did you get into it? Where are you at right now? What are you working on? Stuff like that. If people want to hear more, because we never have enough time on this show to really dig into some of the really cool stuff, then join us in the A Bit of AI Cafe straight after the show. So that's aka.ms/abitofai cafe. It will take you to a space where we can chat with Katerina as well. Before we wrap up, though, we have one last segment that we always do, and it's our quickfire questions. So, Katerina, are you ready? Are you ready for a few quickfire questions?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, good stuff. Okay, so we'll start with a slightly newer one for season 2, but hopefully something that you can share with us. So what was your first computer?
What was my first computer?
Yeah,
that's an interesting.
I know. What did it run? Where was it? Was it in your home? Was it elsewhere?
Yeah, it was in my home, and it had actually one strange game that I only had opportunity to one game, and then waiting for 30 minutes for the internet, at least to have Google loaded for Wikipedia for my school project. So this was the experience from my first computer. Yeah,
I
that's
love
back
that.
in my home.
Good fun.
It's pretty big. Yeah, compared to this one.
Cool. Then I think an easier one. What programming language was used in the last project you worked on?
At the last project I worked on, we used Python. What a surprise! So it's quite popular right now. Python.
I know you watched some of our previous shows, so you know that is a popular answer. Next question. What was the most useful thing you learned in AI?
Oh, the most useful thing I learned in AI.
Useful. Yeah. Could be a keyboard shortcut even.
No, not a keyboard. That's everything you can think of. And if you look for the right technology, you can do it. Right, because AI gives the opportunity. Even if we take the, I'll just go a little bit longer in this one. But even if you take the opportunity of standing there in the branch office and filling out 10 or 15 papers, if you think that there is this problem that you're facing in your real life, with your hands, then you can use AI to solve it, and you can always research it, and you can always get deeper and deeper, and there are so many amazing opportunities and technologies that you can actually apply everywhere and in your everyday work life.
Great answer. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, we do allow on that question, I literally have brackets, you get a sentence. So it's okay. Don't worry.
Next one. Favorite event on the AI calendar?
I'll keep you posted. No, there are so many events.
Okay.
Each and every AI event that is challenging people, that's challenging technology-oriented people, business-oriented people. Each AI event that gets you asking questions and keeps you asking questions. It's a favorite one. And I enjoy each and every event that I've been part of. It's an opportunity and it's an experience, and definitely for an MVP, the calendar of events is endless. So looking for these challenges is amazing.
Fabulous. We're nearly there. We're nearly at the end. What area of AI is on your list to skill up on next? So what are you looking at in the future to get into in AI?
I will not answer with the most common answer here. It's not something technical. I'm looking into data philanthropy, and this is an area within AI that is not that common, and I've been focused in my research there of sharing and using data between different communities, education, corporations, into building the best algorithm using the best technology and having open data that is enough for research across the community. This is
Interesting.
This is the next step. Yeah.
We should talk more about that in the cafe. Yes.
Absolutely. Last question. What was the first AI thing, project, skill you worked on or built?
The first one. Was? Yeah, the first one that I wanted when I started was a chatbot. So I was pretty popular in the Microsoft Office of really wanting to do a chatbot. This was the first try, but it is a machine learning algorithm that was combined with some very interesting cognitive services and image recognition insight, and really having the large amount of data and the beautiful mathematics on top.
Fabulous. What a wonderful way to end, the beautiful mathematics. We'll have to quote you on that one. Katerina, thank you so much for your time. As always, we are out of time for today's show. However, join us in the cafe. Ask Katerina more about data philanthropy, which is a word I really struggle to say, and anything else that she's talked about data and innovation strategy. So for just a couple of minutes, we will say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right. We'll see you very shortly. Cool. We only have a minute left, and so I just wanted to do a very quick announcement and wrap up the show for us. If you're interested and you're working in the area of the cloud, and maybe specifically Azure cloud, you might be interested in an event that's happening later today. So it's called All Around Azure, and it's all about well-architected, the backstage tour. Yes, that's an exciting name. It covers the 5 pillars of well-architected solutions in Azure. So think about things like reliability, security, all these different things, scaling, cost optimization. That's a great session that's coming up. It's if you're in Europe, it's around 6 p.m. today. If you're over in Americas, it's 10 a.m. Pacific. If you go to aka.ms/WAF, which is Well Architected Framework as an acronym, --backstage, you can go and see more about who's speaking and what they're speaking about. But on that note, I'll say thank you so much for joining us today. We really hope you've enjoyed the show. Catch up on episodes on demand and also from season 1 at abitofai.show. And we hope to see you in the cafe shortly, aka.ms/abitofai-cafe. Thanks so much for watching.